Welcome to the Real Estate Marketing Podcast. My name is Jerome Lewis. I'm your host for today. The Real Estate Marketing Podcast is a podcast where we talk marketing, tech, business, and leadership. We talk these things for real estate agents, real estate investors, and real estate entrepreneurs. The Real Estate Marketing Podcast is a podcast that has two purposes. Purpose number one, to educate and inform our audience and listeners. Purpose number two, Blanche, to spotlight you, your business, your service, or your product in a way that provides value to you, including market exposure and content creation. With that, we have a very special guest. Blanche Smith is a seasoned real estate professional with a career spanning 18 years. Her extensive experience includes 12 years in property management and specialization in lead testing for her clients. Blanche's passion for real estate has been evident throughout her life, as she always loved looking at properties and helping people find their perfect home. As a mother of four, Blanche has a deep understanding of the importance of finding a safe and comfortable home for families. She is dedicated to serving first-time home buyers and committed to ensuring that they have a smooth and stress-free home buying experience. Blanche's career in property management began unexpectedly when the market crashed, and she stumbled upon an opportunity to use her skills to help property owners navigate the challenges of the changing market. Since then, she has become a trusted advisor and advocate for her clients, helping them manage their properties and make informed decisions about their investments. Blanche is known for her exceptional professionalism, attention to detail, and commitment to delivering outstanding customer service. Her love for helping people is evident in every aspect of her work, and she is dedicated to going above and beyond to ensure that her clients' needs are met. Blanche, welcome to the show. I'm happy to have you.
I love that. Oh my goodness. I feel
You
really
like that
special.
bio? Yeah.
Yes.
That's
That's
a nice
Blanche,
bio.
girl.
Welcome to the
Awesome.
show. Tell us, listen, ain't she? She the bomb, right? Tell us your story and tell us how you got into real estate and property management.
Okay. So real estate, I've been doing it for 18 years. I was licensed first in Delaware. I had my license in Delaware for about a year. And it wasn't that long because I realized that I don't know anybody. I'm from Philadelphia. So I got licensed in Delaware. I actually started at a small boutique, like mom and pop. Really, it was Home Buyer U, and then it turned to Real Estate U. And I couldn't sell much over there because I knew nobody. So I then came over to Pennsylvania, got my real estate license 18 years ago. But property management, that right there, that kind of snuck up on me. So I was living my best life, like being able to help people buy houses. I love home buyers. And I was just learning it, myself too. But home buyers, what I loved about it is that I was able to take people, and I pretty much take the fear out of the home buying process. First time home buyers are the most terrified buyers because they are sitting up there and they're about to make one of the biggest decisions of their life. So I decided that how can I make this process, which is really great, be less scary, So using humor, and fun. I was drawn, to helping home buyers. But then we came to when the market crashed, and I was at my office, and we wasn't getting calls. Nobody wasn't buying a house, anymore. So it's like, this
Before
is
you go
my
into detail,
soul.
tell us when the market crashed and what does that mean? The market crashed. Yeah.
Oh goodness. As far as breaking down that when the market, as far as, oh goodness, the boat, I'm not really good with breaking that
What does
part
that
down.
mean to you? What does that mean to you? The market crash. What does that mean?
Meaning it to be a real estate agent and to only work off of commission, and for this to be a mother of four, and it to be I make money from selling houses. And when, as far as interest rates, going up, people not being able to buy houses anymore,
Okay.
it kind of coming to a halt, it was kind of scary because it's like, well, what else am I going to do? I didn't do this part time. It was full time. So to me, it felt like the end of my career. Like how my bills keep coming, real life keep coming, my kids, keep coming. So I had to find some. Am I going to find something else to do? Am I not going to be able to do this anymore? Like, do I go back to I don't even know what I could go back to because I had gotten comfortable with being able to raise my kids, having the freedom and the free time to be there, for them, and having four kids as a single mom, kids in middle school, kids in elementary school. It felt like my whole life was about to be turned upside down. So
Okay. How did you overcome that? Because you mentioned like the property management helped you get over that hump a little bit. Can you tell us about that?
okay, so
And before you do that, tell us what property management is, or maybe it's after. You're the expert, so you're gonna have to tell me. Like, how can we tie those two together?
okay, so property management. Well, when I first started, I didn't know anything about property management at all. So how I stumbled on property management was I was always in the office. I was one of those agents. I was the first one in the office, the last one, to leave. So I always, hung around the office. But we did not have any. There were nobody. There was no one calling to buy houses at this time.
Okay.
So we decided we're getting phone calls. A lot of people are calling and we're hanging up on them. And then the questions that they're asking is, do you guys have any rentals? Do you have anything for rent? And we're like, no, we don't do rentals. And we're hanging up and we're realizing that, wait a minute, maybe we should start doing rentals. And my broker at the time, it was so funny because he didn't think that it was two agents in the office.
Define rental for us. What is that?
Rentals. So homes, that's when homeowners, they are renting their properties out. So a lot of times investors. So renting the property is you are temporarily staying in someone's, and staying in a home. You're renting a property normally for a year, and you're paying rent to an actual owner. And you're occupying that space for a set amount of time. So it's a roof over your head. And I tell my tenants that renting a home is a step before home ownership. So it's almost like a trial, a trial run. You get to live in a home, experience. You're responsible. It's different, whether it can be an apartment or a house, but you're temporarily staying in someone else's residence.
Okay. And if I'm like, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm trying to get involved in real estate, and this rental thing sounds enticing. How would I go about that?
So as far as wanting to
Yeah, I want to
property,
become a landlord. I want to have
a
some
landlord.
rentals. How did I do that?
Uh, well, it's a number of ways that you can do that. But if someone was coming to me, um, I have it would just be kind of sitting down,
Okay.
with you and going over because rental. I would like to explain, being a landlord. Being a
Okay.
landlord is
Is it
not for
easy?
everyone.
Is it easy?
uh, Well, for my landlords, it's easy because I manage their properties and they sit around and because I'm a property manager, so I take on that responsibility. My owners don't even know who the tenants are. They never meet them. They don't screen the tenants. They don't show the property to the tenants. They literally hand me a vacant property. I take that vacant property and I find a qualified tenant. I do the lease signing. Every month, I collect the rent. I answer all the phone calls. I take care of the maintenance for that property. My owners, every month, they get a check around the same time of the month from me. The only time they get a phone call from me is if there is a maintenance repair, because I like, even though we do handle the maintenance, I like for owners to know it's still your property. So you still want to know what's going on with your property. I'm calling you because, the sink, the kitchen sink is leaking. Now I do give owners the option because some owners that come to me are investors, meaning they purchased this property and they have been renting properties for a while, and they already have contractors that they feel comfortable with. So they have plumbers, they have electricians, they have roofers, and the services they need from me is pretty much I'll contact their plumber or their electrician. I coordinate everything, for them. So I'm calling the owner saying, hey, Timothy, I'm calling you, let you know that your sink, the tenant called, there's a leak in the sink. How would you like us to handle this? And he says, well, call my plumber. Or a lot of times owners feel very comfortable with me, and they end up saying, Blanche, just handle it and take it out of the rent. And they go on about their business. So I take, my motto is, let me lighten the load. So is it easy to be a landlord? I think it's easier if you have a property management company, because you're allowing someone who is a professional to take care of the property. And if your goal was just to add additional income, then you're just getting the income minus the headache. Now, if you are managing your own properties, can you do it? Yes, you definitely can. You definitely can do it. So pretty much you'll be having direct contact, with the tenant. You're renting out a property, meaning that you have a vacancy. So you're posting it. People are coming and looking at the property in hopes of renting it. You have to find a tenant that you find that is suitable. There are a lot of, laws and things that the city of Philadelphia has in place that you would need to know. And I don't think it's not something, they're not mailing books out letting you know, you have a property for rent, this is what you have to do. A lot of times owners come to me because they have made a lot of mistakes, costly mistakes. They have tenants in properties, they can't even get out because they didn't know that they were supposed to have certain licenses, certain things that they were supposed to do, they weren't made aware of. So with having a property manager, we pretty much make sure that all of our landlords are compliant. So you don't have to also worry about, the things that you don't know, because the city of Philadelphia will not tell you. You'll find out when you got a bill or you
Okay.
go and something is stopping you from getting your money, and you don't know until it's too late.
Yeah, so you handle everything, and my question was like sarcastic. Is it easy? I know it's not easy, and I know people should pay professionals. So I wanted you to answer that question in a way that people can understand, like everything that you do, and that they probably, like, listen, you can do it yourself, or you can pay a professional like Blanche to handle all these headaches and stuff for you. Um,
Mhm.
I would like to ask you, like, what are some of the most common pitfalls that you see for people that are trying to rent out these properties, and then they're like, you know what, I can't do this. Let me go to Blanche. Could you tell us about that, and maybe some things that we can do to avoid them, even if it's just call Blanche?
Mhm. So a few things that I see. The biggest one is having your license, your renter's license. I know a lot of owners that have come to me um, didn't have a renter's license. They didn't know how to do it. They've been renting out their properties to friends and family members, which is such a no-no. Friends and family members, renting to friends and family members. Okay. Not every single owner that I've had come to me has had a nightmare of a time renting to friends, or family members. So, because they'll get in there and they figure, we're family. So I'm going to be a little late with the rent, and then they're a little short with the rent. And I'm good for it, like, so they have a very hard time. And then you're trying to be nice because you don't want to kick your family members out. So it's there's no line. They don't look at you as a professional. They look at you as family. And I need a place to stay, and I'm I'm having a hard time, so you're not going to kick me out. And those are the main ones they won't leave. Another thing, as far as licensing, if you get to a point where a tenant stops paying their rent, a lot of owners, only at that point do they think about eviction. Well, somebody's not paying, but you're not realizing that there were certain steps that you should have taken prior to even putting the tenant in there. As far as having, you're making sure you have a valid renter's license that needs to be renewed every year. There's also a rental suitability certificate. You don't have to pay for this, but this is one thing that a lot of owners, even they may come with a license, but they don't know anything about a rental suitability certificate, saying that the property is suitable, is habitable, and you can get this online, and that the tenant, you have to provide it to the tenant before they move in. Another thing, when it comes to having goodness, I'm trying to think about people, some other issues that pitfalls that owners have, because those are the main, as far as your paperwork, not paying your taxes. Now, this is the city now they have done a wonderful job with making sure that they get their money by stopping you from getting yours when it comes to paying your taxes. So when you start managing, properties, or actually start having your properties, and you create like an LLC, I mean, it's actually a small business to be a landlord. It's a
Okay.
it's a small business. So as far as you have another set of taxes to pay, you're getting a business license, because in order to get your renter's license, you must have a business license. That's how the city gets you into their system. So now, what a lot of owners don't know is that they're working their regular 9 to 5 job, and when they file taxes, they figure, I'm just filing for my regular 9 to 5 job, not realizing that you need to file taxes to the city, net profits tax. I'm not an accountant, so I don't want to kind of go into the tax, but there is another set of taxes that you have to pay, and you won't really see, or a lot of owners don't even realize that they have to file these taxes to the city of Philadelphia, because you are a business, until they go and renew their license. And they can't, because now the city isn't, I literally had an owner owe the city of Philadelphia $3. $3. He owed $3 in taxes. They flagged his account. They would not allow him to, he could not renew his license. And if you can't renew your license, legally, you should not be collecting money, because now you're illegally renting your space. You can't evict the tenant. Lead testing. Well, one of the reasons I started doing lead testing, oh goodness, was it about 7 years ago? Not sure, because it was a requirement. At that time, it was only a requirement if you were renting to someone who had a child under the age of 6, and you needed to get the property rented. So if I'm lightening the load for my owners, I decided, you know what? I didn't want my owners to have to contact someone to do lead testing. I didn't want them to have someone testing the property and just trying to get it to pass and wasn't doing it properly. So I went and got certified. I am an EPA certified lead dust technician. I do the lead testing for my owners at a reduced price, because being a landlord, it comes with expenses, too. Licensing, you have to pay every year. Lead testing. If you have multi-units, a lot of people don't know that for multi-units, that the city, you have to pay for your trash. So it's a refuge collection fee. So you actually have to pay a separate fee for your trash to be picked up if you have multi-units. If the city, then they do not, because they're slow with everything. But I've had owners, you would get a violation if you have not paid. And I think the fee, oh goodness, I'm trying to remember, you pay twice a year. It was, when it first started, $250 for the first 6 months, and then $250 for the second. I'm not sure what the exact fee that they've gone up. I don't know if they're at $300 now, but if you do not pay the fee and the city of Philadelphia picks up your trash, they can charge you $50 for each occurrence. Every time they pick up the trash for your multi-unit, you'll be fined. You could be fined $50 each time if you have not paid that fee. So basically, you're paying for the city to come and pick up your trash.
Wow. So see, that's a lot for me. I'm like, I'm hiring somebody. That's too much for me to be trying to figure out. And you actually, I'm glad I talked to you, because I have stuff coming up, and I understand the importance of hiring somebody else. I'm not going to try to do this by myself. No way. So that's very valuable that we're having this conversation. Question: how much does it cost me to hire someone like you, or maybe you specifically?
So my fee is, I charge 10%. 10% of the monthly rent. So if your rent is $1,000, we collect $100 a month.
That's
We
it?
also, yes, yeah. You know what? And I like that you say that's it, because I remember when I first started doing it, and people would say, "What?" Some people would say, "What? Well, I know someone who charges 8%." And I was, I'm starting out and I didn't know what to charge. But after doing this, for a while, and I told you that my owners don't even talk to the tenants.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the benefit. You were like, they don't even know who they are.
yeah, don't have a clue. My owners, like, it every holiday. big holidays, like say maybe New Year's, 4th of July, our office is closed. However, without fail, every holiday, no matter how much we try to prepare and make sure that all the work orders are taken care of, we get a phone call from at least one tenant during the holiday, the 4th of July. I'm getting a call about a work order and it's an emergency. I mean, these are emergencies. So we get emergencies. My owners are eating barbecues. My owners on vacation, they don't have to deal with it. We take the calls, and property management is not a 9 to 5. I mean, it's like 24/7, because we have to deal with emergencies on the weekend. So when I have people now saying, oh, 10%, that's a lot. I had someone, what was it? $600. $600 was the rent for this particular unit. 10%, I said, that's $60. Like, who can you get to work for you for a whole month for $60? I think that's $2 a day. I mean, if anything, I think it should be 40%. But when you think about it, like, who can you pay to manage your property or do anything for you for $60 a month, $100 a month, and you don't have to? You sit around and collect a check. So, but if owners have more than 10 units, my fee goes down to 8%. So more than 10 units is not more than 10, not actually 10 properties. So if you have 3 triplexes, which is 3 units in a building, in a house, the management fee does drop down to 8%, because I am doing more work, but I also, being a real estate agent, also seeing how the city capitalizes off of what I consider a small business for a lot of landlords, is like, you have so many fees. Soon I feel like they're going to be kind of, it's almost pushing you out of the way. If they take all your money, how can you ever
Yeah,
make
they are. Yeah,
any money? So that's
Philadelphia,
why
they want all our money.
they want it all. So that's why I reduce my lead testing fees are little to nothing. My management fees, if you have multiple units, because I have owners that have, they keep buying properties and they keep giving them to me to manage. I manage properties like they are my own, because these tenants are like children to me, because some of them are children, they children, and I treat people the way that I want to be treated. So I have a different approach to management than a lot of people that I know who manage properties. They sometimes laugh at me because the personal that they say, you got to leave the personal out of it, and I can't. I personally can't put the personal to the side, because my why of why I do property management and why I do it every day is not because of how much money it is. It's so lucrative. My why, I don't know if I can go into my why. If
you can.
Is I've been homeless 3 times in my life. I lived in a shelter with my kids, and that one particular time it was life-changing for me. So really, I'll try to make this quick. One day I lived in Delaware at the time, and this is when I just got my real estate license. So I didn't know anything about rentals except for I was renting, a place, my very first place at the time. And I came home. I was married at the time. I came home, and I was cleaning up, and I found a piece of paper behind the couch. And when I read the piece of paper, it said that I was supposed to be in court 3 days ago. Now, the apartment was in my name. My husband paid the rent. I paid, just, the bills and, got the groceries. So I said, wait a minute. Why? What the heck is going on here? Like, why is the rent not being paid? So I go down to the office the next day, and I'm saying, listen, I just got my income tax at that time. I got this letter with how much money, is owed, because I found out that he hadn't paid the rent in like 2 months. So I'm thinking, oh, great. I got my income tax check. I'm just going to go down there. I'm just going to give them the money. Not realizing that I was supposed to be in court 3 days ago. I didn't show up to court. So I'm thinking, there's money. You just go and pay. You owe somebody, You just go and pay what you owe. They told me I needed a certified check. I gave them a check. So I'm thinking everything is fine. Now I'm on top of the rent. I'm making sure that the rent is paid every month. 2 months went by and I got a letter stating that they wasn't going to renew the lease. I'm confused. I don't know why they're not going to. I owed you money. We paid it. Everything is fine. So at that point, my husband, the lease was ending and we needed to look for a place. So I had excellent rental history prior to this. I'm going around, I'm applying for apartment after apartment after apartment, and I'm getting denied left and right. I had no idea why I was getting, denied. I spent hundreds of dollars on application fees, and I didn't know until this property manager, she called me into her office and she said, sit down, I gotta, tell you something. She said, don't apply for another place. And I'm confused because I need a place to stay. I'm like, why wouldn't I apply for another place? She said, because you're going to keep getting denied. No one's going to approve you. And I said, why? And she said, well, because you have a judgment in your name. A judgment, you know what I'm saying? Why would I have a judgment? And she brought up the apartment complex. I said, no, but I paid it. I didn't know that because I did not go to court, they put a default judgment in my name. And even though I did pay it, it still came up that I had an eviction at some point. And at this time, property management companies were automatically denying you. Like, as soon as they see eviction, they don't want to have. They just look at you as somebody who does not pay their rent. They didn't want to hear my story. They didn't know that, it was in my husband's name, and our lease ended. I did not have a place. He went and stayed with his grandmother. We was not allowed to come there. So I was working at AstraZeneca there. So I had a car. I had a job that was my full-time job. I was starting to do real estate part-time, and I needed a place to stay. I had a son and I had a baby, a newborn baby, and I had to go live in a shelter. I lived in a shelter for 2 months with my kids. Every day I went to work, picked up my daughter and my son from daycare, and I would go to the shelter, and I had to learn life skills with a bunch of women who did not. They were learning life skills. They didn't even have a job. They looked at me, and many times they would say, "What are you doing here?" Like I did not belong there. And I say, "I'm here for the same reason you are. I have no place to stay." So that was one of the times that I was homeless, and because of that, I was not informed. I did not know. It wasn't my fault. I had a story, and nobody wanted to hear my story when I was going, and I needed a place to stay, and that is one of the reasons why I do property management, because I don't automatically deny people just because they may not look good on paper, because people do have stories. Some people come with the stories and they are lies,
Right,
I can
right.
believe that. But what about the people who actually have real things, that happen, like real life happen, and I still need a place to stay, and I need somebody to give me a chance. And
Lynch,
I'm that
I
person.
appreciate you for sharing that. I'm the same way. I share my story because other people can learn from that story. People get embarrassed about certain stuff, but if there's people out there that's struggling with stories or similar stories to you, and they need to hear that story, that's why I share my story. I do my podcast, my content creation, all that stuff, because people need to hear it. They don't know how things are. So I appreciate you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Um, if tell me as a property owner, a landlord, investor, I want to work with you. Like, how can I best be? How can I best prepare myself to work with you and make things like easy so it's easy for both of us? Like that thing that you said earlier, like they don't even know their tenants. That's amazing to me. So, can you tell me how to best work with you if I was like interested in not knowing my tenants? Like,
So I I get a lot of referrals. I don't have to market and advertise, a lot, and I'm very thankful for that. But so when someone comes to me, the first thing that I do, I don't take everyone that calls me for management services. The first thing I do is, kind of give my spill. I let people know, what a property manager is. I try to get a feel of what you need, because everyone comes with different needs. I try to cater to the needs of all of my owners. Some people have had experiences with other property management companies. I want to know, well, what was the experience that wasn't so good that left a bad taste in your mouth? Some people, like, they love communication. Um, they just need to be there. Some owners are hands on, so I want to get to know who you are, why you came to me, what do you need? And I can kind of cater my services around that. But the first thing I need to do is, because I don't manage properties for slumlords. I do not manage property for slumlords. Now, I have owners that have come to me, they've never managed, they don't know what to do, and I don't have a problem with guiding you and taking, your hand and helping you get your license, together. But the first thing I must do is I must come out and I do a site visit of the property, because some people, they've gone in and they fix their place up and they don't know, what L&I requires. So I do a walkthrough. I'm doing a walkthrough, one, to see how you maintain your property. I'm doing a walkthrough, to determine what the rent is going to be. I'm doing a walkthrough to meet you. And a lot of times I come out, very seldomly is the place in immaculate condition. I may do a walkthrough and I may see that you have broken windows. I may see that there's no carbon monoxide detectors. I may see, that the windows, as far as broken, like, I see things that would not be safe, for tenants, or I can look at things and say, oh, this is going to be a problem when a tenant moves in here. So I create a list and I take pictures, I create a list, and I hand that list over to the prospective landlord. And I say, these are a list of the things that you need to do. These are the things, this is a list of things they are suggestions. You don't have to do them, but it's only going to help you. I can't manage the property until you completed the must-do list, because I'm preparing the property to make sure, because once you hand it to me, you don't get a phone call from these tenants. You're pretty much, you're waiting for a tenant to be put into the place, and every month after that, you're collecting a check. So I need to make sure I can walk in and see my problems before they happen, and I need you to fix them. I've rarely had owners, not do the things that they're doing, but pretty much you're investing in your investment before I take over, the property. I come back out once all the repairs are completed, and I do a walkthrough, and I get keys, sign a management contract, and once they hand over the property, to me, I am off to the races. So if you are interested, if an owner is interested in having me manage their property, it would just be contacting our office. I have an excellent mini me, which is, I feel like she's my assistant property manager, Liz. I didn't even see that. I was like, what is that on the screen? My assistant property manager, Elizabeth, she kind of takes the information, will get your information, set up an appointment, and and do a walkthrough. So if anyone is interested, that is the next step when it
Okay.
comes to.
So you mentioned lists. I like love lists because they help people. And I want to ask you this: do you have, like, is every list you do custom? And if it is, what are some of the most common things that you see? Like, okay, pretty much every landlord needs this, or is it custom like every time?
Actually, it's custom. It is a custom list because I'm kind of walking through. So I don't have like a pre-printed list. I'm kind of checking off, make sure that the windows, the windows open and close, the doors. It's a lot of times when I'm walking through these properties is making sure is the quality of work from the contractor that probably did your repair, but it's making sure, definitely, as far as the smoke alarms and the carbon monoxide detectors, I'm looking to make sure you have a gas meter and a water meter. I mean, and you like a gas, yeah, because some owners are stealing gas or electric, or a tenant, your previous tenant may have been stealing gas and you don't really know. Another thing is I'm walking through the windows, doors. I'm walking through to make sure the property is clean. I'm making sure that if you have a deck, it doesn't look like it's fallen, off. It's not a safety hazard. I'm looking um, uh, for holes. I'm looking for to make sure you don't have roaches. I'm looking to pretty much walk through. I walk through to see what will this tenant call me for. What
Okay.
what what am I going to get a call for from a tenant that moves into this property? Um, a lot of times, so it's not like a huge list of things, but a lot of it is just to see what the property looks like. I have is a missing step, and they have on the stairs out back. May have a fire escape. One property I went to a fire escape. I walked up and down the fire escape. I wanted to make sure it was safe, but one of the steps was rotted. You know, so I'm like, well, you have to get this fixed. So it's not a set list. Every time I walk through, that's why I do the walkthroughs. Nobody else does the walkthrough. I do every single walkthrough because I look at it like it's a liability issue, and I take that very seriously. I can't even give that to nobody else.
Okay.
um,
Got you. How do you handle lease and agreements? A common thing that people get is like, I don't know, like a lease, a contract, the agreements. I don't know. Like, do you help with that? Do you do that? What's that process like?
with the lease for the tenants.
Yes, I guess. Right.
Okay. So we actually use the Pennsylvania Association of Realtors, their standard lease. I prefer to use that because in the event that I have to go to court, it's a familiar lease that the attorneys
Okay.
know, the judge knows. One
That's
thing
smart.
that I am not a fan of is owners making up their own leases
Okay.
and went to court because Philadelphia is pro tenant. I mean, they're pro tenant and not pro landlord. So what you don't want to do is start creating your own lease with things that benefit you, and it's not fair to the tenant because in the event that you have to go to court, the judge is going to look at that lease, and they're already going to frown, at you because you have created a situation that does not advocate for the tenant. You're the only one that benefits from it. So we use just the standard, our standard par par lease. I use the standard management contract. I think, and not to be on a negative note, but I think court. What will have if I have to go to court? Sue. If someone sues me, so I take my steps. I'm very intentional, and I want to make sure that I am not. There's no need to recreate the will, but how does that help my owners? They don't have to worry about leases. I do not take leases from owners. You cannot come to me with your own personal lease. Now, what you can do is say, can you include this? Because maybe you had a situation and you want to add this, to the lease. So I can add, something to the lease, like on a separate addendum. But
Okay.
we don't take any leases that are made up from owners because it's not going to
Okay.
benefit you if we had to go to
I was
court.
going to ask you that because I have like a lease addendum, and I was wondering, how you handle that. Let's get to some personal questions so we can learn who you are personally. You shared that beautiful story. So, personal questions. What do people misunderstand about you most?
Mm. What do people misunderstand about me most? Um, Goodness, I am a little. I'm straightforward. I'm blunt. It doesn't mean that I'm not rude. Okay, and a lot of times I use my humor, to get my point across because I can come off a little. I'm passionate. Like I'm really passionate. I love,
We
I love
know.
what huh?
I said, we know after today.
I
Yeah.
love what I do. So I'm like, I'm not trying to be rude. So I found a way to use humor to get the same point across, But sometimes, people people look at me and maybe I'm not aggressive. I don't think I'm aggressive at all. I lived a long time and right now I value my life minutes. Okay. And I think if you look at life, like life minutes is something once a minute is gone, you can't get it back. You can't borrow it. You can't give it back to me. So now I really watch how I use my life minutes, and I can't use on foolishness or nonsense. I don't like for people to think that I'm stealing, when you say, oh, well, stealing, because some owners, you run into them, well, where's, they want to know dollar for dollar, I'm like, I'm not stealing from you. I'm not a thief, so I'm not a thief at all. So I just try to be as direct as I can while still being able to smile, because I got to find something about what I'm doing that I love, to do. So I have to laugh with it, because property management will have you, and I'm not saying that it's like I do it with ease. It's so easy. It's not. You're dealing with multiple people. You're dealing with multiple personalities, people from different walks of life. So when I say I have to have multiple personalities, I have to have multiple personalities to do property management, so
You've been saying that for years too. I remember when we first met, you said that multiple
yeah.
personalities. Like, what is she? What?
Yeah,
Okay,
I've
yeah,
acquired more since
consistent.
then.
Yeah, you're consistent. Say that. How can someone add short-term value to your immediate value to you or your business? Does that make sense? How can someone add immediate short-term value to you or your business?
By giving me a referral.
Referral. I know that's right. You know what you want. Sometimes some people come on, I don't know, I need to think about it. And which is okay, but now that I know that you said I'm blunt, I'm direct, I'm to the point, I know why you got right to the answer. That makes sense. Because I know somebody asks me, I'm like this, then I'm like
Yeah.
that. I don't, I get right to it. Same question, but this time is long term value. How can someone add long term value to you or your business?
So long-term value. Well, I every all of my clients add long-term value.
So become a
Um,
client.
yeah, that's definitely.
Become a client.
I'm managing your property. I manage properties. My owners now, a lot of them are selling because it was like their first investment property. So now they want to move on to, probably in a better neighborhood. Or so I'm selling, properties and just prefer being a client. That's long
Become a
term,
client.
value.
Okay.
They trust me. My owners no longer even question. They don't question, me at all. They don't question the people that I send out. They trust me, and I love that, because that means I'm doing a great job. I really, really treat their money like it's my own. I'm questioning contractors. Like, wait a minute, I know how much a shower diverter, costs. So I'm questioning it, and they know that once they get the properties, to me, it's in good hands, and I'm not making extra money. I know some people they pad. I hear that they pad the numbers. A plumber charges 150. They may put an extra $50, on there. I'm not padding numbers. I figure I'm doing the best job for you by getting you the best deal that you can.
Yep.
For you. You're there to make money. It's supposed to make money. It's not just supposed to make me money. When tenants don't pay their rent, so for example, a tenant rent is $1,000. They only pay $600. Now, per my contract, I can take $100 out because it's $1,000. I take $60 out. I take $60. When the tenant pays the other $400, I'll take $40, because I figure we're a team, So when owners come to me, I don't work. I let them know, and I make it. I don't work for you. I work with you. Okay, I don't work for anybody. I ain't worked for anybody in 18 years, but I will work with you. And if we're a team, why would I get all my money when you didn't get all yours? So it makes me continue to work and make sure I get that other $400. So I'm sorry, I can go. Look, I'm just going on and on. Like I'm like
Yeah, I know. So I wanted to. I'm gonna ask you this one question, then I'm gonna ask you the next question after. So, tell us how we can learn more. How we can find out more about you online.
uh online, or actually, you know what? I'm about to be posting the introduction that you gave for me. I'm about to post that, online.
Okay.
So I am. You're gonna see that everywhere. Can I use that? Is that
Of
okay?
course, of course.
Okay. So my website for property management is managedbyintegrity.com.
Okay.
So a lot of my business, that's www.managedbyintegrity.com. So that's the site for property management services. That's also the site where we send out for where we put all of our rentals, on there, so our vacancies. I do not, and I'm blessed and I'm happy that I do not have to market as much. Most of my business, I'm going to say 98% of my business is referrals. People have referred, and I love referrals because I'm not trying to sell myself to you. Someone has already done that for me. The person that referred you already sung my praises. I've obviously did a fantastic job for them, and they told you about it, and that's why people normally, contact, um, contact me. So I don't have this crazy website where I'm marketing, myself. But Managed by Integrity is the site for our property management services.
Blanche, I appreciate you. The question I wanted to ask you, we got 4 minutes. The question I wanted to ask you, I'm gonna ask you right here. Can you believe that was 45 minutes?
No, because I was not looking at the clock at all.
Yeah, it's one
45 minutes.
it's 1:57 right now, so it's zoomed.
Oh, wow.
Yep, we
Yeah.
got 3 minutes. So I appreciate you. Let me ask you one more. If you could sum up what we talked about today in one word, what would that word be? One word. You can't give no explanation. Go ahead and say fun. Fun.
I'm like, for one, you'll put me in a box. I'm like, one word. Wait a minute, I got
Fun.
words.
Yes, one word. What would it be? You can say fun. You had fun today.
Did I?
Yes, you did. Look at your face.
Oh my gosh.
But what's the
Well,
word? What's the word? You don't have to pick fun. One word. I gotta put you in the box. Yes.
reassuring.
Reassuring. Okay. Thank you, Blanche. Blanche. I appreciate you so much. This was fun. I had a lot of fun, like seeing you open up and do this. So I told you it would be fun.
You did. You did.
I did. So sit around. Sit around. I want to talk to you in the back room. So stay here. I'm gonna run the outro and then come back.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We gotta do this
Thank
again.
you.